Who were the Saka? The nomad warriors who terrified Persian kings. Hook, somewhere beneath the frozen soil of the Altai Mountains, archaeologists once opened a burial mound and found something impossible. A body preserved in ice for over 2,000 years, tattooed skin, gold ornaments, weapons built for war. This was not a king from Persia or a general from Greece. This was a warrior from a people the ancient world both feared and barely understood, a people who lived on horseback, buried their dead like royalty, and vanished from history without ever writing a single word about themselves. The Persians called them Saka. The Greeks lumped them together with the Scythians. Chinese chronicles called them Sai. But who were they really? And how did a scattered confederation of horse-riding nomads manage to humiliate one of the mightiest empires in the ancient world? This is the story of the Saka. Historical background. To understand the Saka, you have to forget the idea of a single nation with fixed borders. The Saka were not a unified state. They were a broad family of Eastern Iranian-speaking, nomadic and semi-nomadic peoples who spread across the Central Asian steppe from the northern shores of the Black Sea to the edges of the Tarim Basin in what is now Western China. Historians and linguists generally connect them closely to the Scythians of the Western steppe. In fact, many scholars treat Saka as the Persian and Central Asian term for populations that Greek writers called Scythians. The exact boundaries between these groups remain debated, and this is one point where historians disagree. Some treat Saka and Scythian as essentially the same broad cultural sphere, while others argue for meaningful distinctions in tribal identity and territory. What is clear is the way these people lived. The Saka were pastoral nomads. Their world revolved around horses, herds of sheep and cattle, and the vast grasslands stretching from Ukraine to Mongolia. They did not build cities in the way settled civilizations did. Instead, they moved with the seasons, following pasture and water. This mobility gave them a military advantage that unsettled every empire they touched. A Saka war band could strike, retreat, and vanish into open steppe long before a heavier, infantry-based army could respond. Persian sources, particularly the inscriptions of the Achaemenid kings, describe multiple Saka groups. The Behistun inscription of Darius I and later Persian records mention the Saka Tigrakauda, the Saka who wear pointed caps, and the Saka Haumavarga, associated with a ritual drink called haoma. Greek historian Herodotus, writing in the 5th century BCE, adds his own perspective, describing steppe peoples he calls Scythians, and noting overlapping customs with those the Persians called Saka. Because the Saka left no extensive written records of their own, almost everything we know comes from outside observers, Persian, Greek, and later Chinese sources, plus what archaeology can recover from their burial mounds, known as kurgans. This absence of a Saka written history is crucial to understanding why they remain mysterious. We are reconstructing their world through the eyes of their neighbors and through the silent evidence of the graves they left behind. But this was only the beginning. Beyond the steppe, the greatest empire on Earth was already looking north.